Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2020 show. I'm your host, Don Kay, and we are again coming to you from the Grant King Race Shops at 8155 Crawfordsville Road. I highly encourage you that if and when things open up and you can get out and about, you want to take a ride by here and take a look at this place. It's quite the sight. There are cars here that most of you weren't even born when they were built. So if you're interested in coming in, give them a call to make sure they're here or will be here when you can get together. The number is 317-820-3595, and they're located at 8155 Crawfordsville Road. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NTT IndyCar Series, SVRA, and of course McGilvery's Speedway, Pub and Eatery and Speedway. And if you haven't been there yet, you got to go. Smoking is banned at the moment, and I hope it'll stay. They remodel it, you'll love it. A couple of things. Everybody's favorite doctor's appointment is a dentist. Well, I can tell you how to get a good one. The Indy Dental Group, Indy 500 veteran Dr. Jack Miller and his wife, Dr. Liz Lewis, have a phenomenal practice, one of the best in the state, highest rated. Call them, make an appointment. I guarantee you'll be glad you did. The number is 317-846-6125. You have trouble with your computer, which I seem to have on a daily basis. We have a new computer guy, the A+ Affordable Computer Doctor. Why is he a doctor? As in my day, he makes house calls. So give him a call, tell him your problem. If need be, you can stop in. The number is 317-328-0766. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to drive your favorite race car on your favorite track? From the dirt track midgets at the Chili Bowl to Formula One cars at Nuremberg Ring. Indy Sim can put you in the driver's seat of their sim experience and put you in the driver's seat and get a full motion race simulator ride. Take your choice of over 160 tracks and cars and the iRacing, the same simulation that professional drivers use to race their real world rivals. Learn new tracks and stay sharp between races. Go to indysim.com to book your free trial and a demonstration ride. You'll love it, I guarantee you. It's a lot of fun. That's indysim.com. Take a car, any car on any track in the world. If you haven't subscribed to the Classic Racing Times, I have a copy right here. You should do it. Go to indyclassicracing.com and subscribe to it. They got some great stories about IndyCar in the past. You'll enjoy it. You'll love it. If you would like to take a ride, and whenever they start, and I'm not sure when that is, you need to go to the Indy Racing Experience, get a ride in a two-seater Indy car. Speed is phenomenal. You'll love it, and it's exciting. You can go to indyracingexperience.com and pick a date that they will be running and works for you. And in the promo box, put DK1, you get a 50% discount. Or you can call the office, talk to Shonda. The number is 317-243-7171. Is it time yet to renew your car insurance, your home insurance, or your commercial property? Do what most of us have done and what somebody did just yesterday. Call VP Insurance. They're located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Talk to Mike Pardee. You'll find you get better coverage for less money. And when you have a problem, he's right there with you to help you. We've all done it and found it works. I did it for the new car, and he got me a $400 discount, so it works for you. That's VP Insurance. The number is 317-248-0070. Now, my guest today is a young gentleman that has been with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the Director of Communications. Since the acquisition of the new overseer of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he is now Vice President of Corporate Communications for Penske Entertainment. Please welcome my good friend, Alex Damron.
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. Thanks for your time, because I know the track opens tomorrow, so I know you got more things to do than talk to me.
I'm always excited to talk to you. We do open with cars on track tomorrow, and excited to have the guys practicing and see everybody going around the oval.
It seems to me, and I know this because I've tried to get in touch with you, and you've been going to meetings for hours a day and sometimes into the early to mid evenings. You guys have had to cover every possible thing that could conceivably happen and have a plan ready in case. And here it is. You scheduled something, you moved it, you scheduled something else, you had to change it. Everything has changed. Is there anything that could conceivably happen that would change what you have currently set up now?
I think we're pretty committed to the next 2 week schedule and running the Indy 500 on August 23rd. We feel really good about the plan that we have in place. So I think we feel like the race is going to happen on August 23rd, and practice and qualifications weekend will go off without a hitch. So we're looking forward to all of it. And you are right. We've been working fast and furious on all of our plans for the month of August. Someone the other day blended month of May and August to month of August, which I've been using with the team over here. But yeah, we have lots of plans in place, and I think IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway have worked together really well to be ready to do this.
Of course, the only one that's gotten in your way is the state of Indiana and the health situation. But you've been prepared. Should this happen, we will do thus. Therefore, the meetings, and of course, everybody's not happy. The fans that had tickets and who said, "Well, we'll come 25% if we can get a ticket, we'll come," and then that went away. Have you had a lot of feedback saying, "What the hell is going on?"
Well, I think most people understand how unprecedented this year is, and you're right. There have been a lot of different contingency plans. COVID-19 and the public health situation is something that a racetrack and a racing series can't control themselves. It can only react to and put in place the best plans possible to deal with the situation at any given time. So I think people were very understanding at the end of June with the numbers where they were, with what our plan was that we rolled out then. And I think people also recognize that since then, the numbers have changed. The situation is a little bit different. And thus we had to make the right decision for the city and state and our fans too, as it relates to the public health situation. But, of course, we're disappointed too at a very basic level. No one loves or like the fans. We love seeing the gates open and everybody come through, and race morning is going to feel very different. So I think we understand the disappointment of folks who cannot be here, but also feel like we made the right decision. And I have to say, like in anything, feedback runs the gamut. But that said, I think most people really have been pretty understanding and know that we made the right decision.
I understand, and I've heard this from several people, that when Roger comes to town, he has a staff meeting of everybody that's involved in all departments, almost every week when he's here. And I understand that he is not really dejected at what's happened. It is what it is. And as he has said, I don't look at it as a disappointment. I look at it as an opportunity to do something. Now, to me, he's had the opportunity now to do what he wanted to do with the racetrack because nobody was here in May. So he's gotten stuff done that he would have had to do now because they had a crowd. In your mind, has he said, "Oh, shucks, this wasn't a good deal"? Have you gotten that impression at all from him?
I think he's a tremendously focused leader. Thank goodness we have had him throughout all of this. We were lucky in the first place to have Roger Penske take over stewardship of IMS and IndyCar, but given these unique circumstances, we've benefited so much from his leadership and focus. I think, and I want to be careful not to, not to speak for him, but I think he is one of those people who doesn't dwell on what could have been or what should have been. He reacts to the circumstances in front of him, and as he has said before, sees opportunity in almost every situation. So I think he has not dwelled on the negatives. He's looked forward to looked toward the positives. And that outlook, I think, has been very inspirational for the team. All of us around here haven't really spent too much time being dejected. And instead we've said, okay, under these new circumstances, how do we put on the best show possible for the fans? How do we make sure the drivers have the best experience possible over these next couple weeks? So I think he's been very inspirational to the team here. And I think you alluded to this a little bit. There has been probably some additional time to make sure the facility looks as good as ever and get it in the best shape possible. And right now the drivers and teams are seeing that up close. But when we can welcome fans back, we're very excited to do so and for them to see some of the improvements that have taken place.
Well, I was told the other day that what's going to happen in some of the television time, and I understand there's going to be a lot of television now because, they'll be able to have daily shows and so forth. And they're even using drivers to highlight some of the changes that have gone on so fans can see it themselves and find out what Roger has done. I understand the grass looks like a putting green. It's just amazing, which is good because cars now haven't driven on it when it first was new. So by next year when it opens up, it'll look spectacular.
The grass looks amazing. It's greener than green. I mean, rust has been removed across the facility. Concession stands have been repainted. The restrooms are in the best shape ever. With new stainless steel appliances added. We obviously have new video screens, LED screens throughout the facility, including a 100 by 20 foot big screen in Pagoda Plaza. So I think we're going to do everything we can digitally on Facebook and also through NBC's presentation to showcase some of that to the fans. And we know it'll make them more excited for 2021 when hopefully the world's in a better place.
Well, I've gotten a couple of emails to me saying, something's not right here. And I said, look, you can subscribe to NBC Gold. That's going into somebody's pocket. It may well, but let's face it. You can 30 people can watch your television with NBC Gold. It only costs you one. It's like $50 or $59, which is less than the ticket would be. So quit complaining, watch the race on television, have a good time, and see what the place is going to look like. So when you get here next year, you're going to go, wow, because it'll probably be even better.
Well, I'm going to record that and play that for people when they ask me your commentary on that. I think first and foremost, the big show, the Indy 500 and Quals weekend are all on NBC, and we encourage fans to tune in and watch that network broadcast. In addition, you're right, there is the IndyCar Gold Pass, and I will say the amount of insider content, not just track action, but insider content that's available to fans on that platform. It is less than the cost of a ticket to the race. It really is a discount in the scheme of things, and the feedback we get from fans who are able to purchase it is really positive. The other thing I would say is I encourage everybody, follow IMS on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. We're going to be doing a lot digitally, a lot of driver interviews and a lot of things to engage our fan base on social media over the next couple of weeks.
And I think, to me, that can be a good thing when you have a bad situation, which we have, and that is fans may have heard of Pato O'Ward or Patricio O'Ward, but they've never heard and talked to him. Guys like that, Renus VK, you've seen him, you know the name, but you don't know the kid, and you get to do interviews and should have a lot of time to do that, so fans can become acquainted with who these kids are and guys are. And so when they come back next year, or they watch the next race, they'll know a little bit about them. And I think, to me, that's really important.
Sure.
How has your job changed from director of communications from Speedway to now the corporate communications director? What have you had to step up, and what have you had to do that's more than you did before?
Well, I think, the biggest difference now is as opposed to, my focus being on one side of the street, it's on both sides of the street, so to speak. And I think, we believe, the Indy 500 doesn't happen without the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It doesn't happen without the NTT IndyCar series. They're inextricably linked together. So I've been able to kind of, work on both sides of the street and make sure we're all rowing as one communications and marketing team in the same direction. So maybe, a bit of a different, under the circumstances of 2020, a different start to that work than possibly I'd anticipated. But I think under the circumstances, it's more important than ever that we're communicating together and working as one team. So that's kind of been the approach.
When you went to college, and if I remember right, you got a degree in journalism or communications of some sort. Did you aim for motorsports, or did you just aim for sports?
I was interested in two things, politics and sports. I did have a chance to go to the Indy 500 because I'm not originally from Indiana. I'm from California, and I'd seen the race on TV as a kid. But in college, when I was at IU, I did have a chance to go to the race with a buddy for the very first time and fell in love with it. So before I took this job, I had been to the Indy 500 a few times and watched on TV many times, and appreciated the spectacle that it is for both the driving and everything that goes into the race around it. But yeah, no, I was super interested in sports and politics, and after college had the chance to work in politics, and then, thought to myself, I really should go back to sports because everybody likes you when you work in sports. And at least 50% of people don't like you no matter what if you work in politics, maybe more sometimes. So I thought I'd go into sports and feel the love a little bit more. But jokes aside, since I've been here, obviously now, like we were just talking about, so lucky and appreciative of Mr. Penske's leadership. But also, I came on board ahead of the 100th running, got to be part of what was so special that year that Mark Miles and Doug Bowles and Allison Langton had put together. It's a team that loves this community and the fan base a lot. So it's a very comfortable home that I appreciate.
How much of the normal opening pre-race will happen? Any?
Yeah, so I think we know how important pre-race is to our fans. For some people, it's the best few minutes of the year, and several pieces of a traditional pre-race will occur. So the anthem and Back Home Again in Indiana are going to happen, and those will be on-site performances. I can't give you all the details, but there are plans underway for a flyover, and then we'll have some made-for-TV driver introductions as well. So I think everybody should stay tuned. We'll have a few announcements about that coming up, but there are some special plans for pre-race for sure.
I know, and I agree with you. There are people that can't wait to get there early to make sure they see all of the pre-race. Yeah. When I first started, one of the highlights was Linda Vaughn. They wanted to make sure they saw her driving in the gold Oldsmobile holding on to her shifter.
I volunteered to wave the green flag this year, but they said no.
Really? I can't understand why. To me, the thing about this sport is, against a lot of, and maybe in politics as well, all of these guys that I'm aware of, they're approachable. You can talk to them. You can ask them to do something, and if they have the time, they will do it. In politics, I got a meeting, and they disappear, or whatever they say. And in other sports, they don't want to be bothered. I'm making $15 million a year. I don't need to talk to you. But in IndyCar in particular, the fans can get into the garage area. The fans can get them, and they will pose for pictures. They will sign things. It's a completely different world, in my opinion.
You know what? Two kind of thoughts on that, and I completely agree with you. I think it's great. 2020 aside, again, I mean, I don't know of a sport where it's easier to get closer to the athletes than IndyCar, and the guys are also appreciative of the fan base. But when my first ever press event with a few IndyCar drivers, I was used to politics. You do the press conference, you take a couple questions, then you walk down the steps and get in the car. And after the press conference, all the guys met with all the fans, and then they took time to do one-on-ones with all of the media. And I was so surprised because it was so different than what I was used to, but I was so impressed by it because I think it's really important and showcases who they are and the values of the sport. And the other kind of funny one is I was walking through the garages last year at the Grand Prix with an athlete from one of the big four sports, and was taking him around to show him the garage area. And, he was so used to the locker room model where maybe there's a few fans outside the locker room and you sign a few autographs on your way out and that's that. And he was so amazed and impressed by all the fans walking around, how respectful they all were, how they knew who all the drivers were and were interacting with the IndyCar community. And he just kind of, spent 5 minutes or so telling me how amazing it is and how open we are and how wonderful that is. So I thought that was really cool. It was a reminder of kind of what you were just talking about.
Well, I wonder if he's taken that to heart and now he reacts differently in his sport, whatever it was.
Sure.
The only disappointing part, and I've talked to a couple of drivers about this, you win the 500, the biggest race, biggest single sporting event in the world, single day sporting event in the world. You win the 2020 500, and you stand up and jumping up and down on the car, and the only people cheering is your team. You don't have 300,000 people cheering you, and you get to ride around the track and all the fans. That's got to be a little bit different.
It's going to look a lot different. You're right. I think I've been thinking about it, and maybe this is the optimist in me or the PR guy in me. I do think, the way that everybody remembers Alexander Rossi won the 100th running of the Indy 500. I do think the individual who wins the Indy 500 in August is really going to be remembered because of the remarkable circumstances of this race. So it'll be different. It won't be the traditional, 300,000 people cheering all at once type of thing. But at the same time, I think the winner of this race is going to have a very special place in history.
Oh, no question. No question. And I think, I have to be impressed. When Roger took over stewardship, he wanted to increase the purse from 13 to 15 million, which he did. Then he, because of obvious concerns and problems, he's cut it in half. Most of the teams, from what I've heard and read, said, that's fine. We're here to win the race. It's not the prize money, it's the race. Now, there are smaller teams that go, uh-oh, and won't make as much. But for overall, and I assume you've heard the same thing, most of the teams said, yeah, we understand.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Everybody understands that, the unique circumstances of this race have changed things a little bit, and people have been, really supportive. And you're right. I mean, most people's focus was, okay, that makes sense. We get it. Now let's get on track and try to win the race. So you're absolutely right.
I think, and the thing that I like best, besides the fact that fans can get into the garage area and can interact with the drivers and the team owners and sponsors if they know who they are, that no other sport does that. I mean, even when Formula One was here, I knew somebody who sponsored a car, and I can't remember the driver's name. He was a former world champion. And I said, did you ever get to meet the driver? No. Did he ever come to any of your, sales or conventions? No. But they only paid 30 million, so I guess that didn't qualify. Whereas IndyCar, you can get in. It's not that difficult, and it might cost you $100 or whatever it is to get a badge to get into the garage, but you can get in and you can meet the people, which is what you're here for, to know who they are. And how do you cheer for somebody you don't know?
Yeah, I was thinking when you were doing your intros, you were talking about IRE, and in a normal month of May, the Saturday before the race, we're putting so many people in the two-seater. They're getting that experience with Mario Andretti at the wheel or an Indy Lights driver, and that is so different than any other sport. I know that type of access, but it really is an open, caring community, and I think everybody is very passionate, and openness and access is part of who we are. So it's a great thing.
Well, it's going to be different, but rest assured of one thing: I will be glued. I'll have to get all my yard work done during the week so I can watch everything that's on, whether it's on NBC Gold or NBC Sports Network or NBC Network. I will be watching, as I'm sure millions will be. And I appreciate your time and what you're doing. You've always been available when you had the time, and I understand it's taken me about a month to collect you, but you are here. And you do every once in a while when you get a break, do call or text me and say, sorry, we're in a meeting, blah, blah, blah. But you have come on and taken the time. We're doing this on Tuesday, the 11th. The track opens on Wednesday, the 12th. This probably will come up tomorrow, I would suspect, I hope. And later today, you're being followed by, what's the guy's name? He's the president and chief executive officer of Penske Entertainment. Mr. Mike Miles is following you. He's due here this afternoon, so we'll have that as well.
Well, I'm gonna leave you a list of really tough questions for him. I'll give you offline, but you can't tell him it was me.
Okay.
And listen, we appreciate you and your commitment to IndyCar and to IMS. And I think we're looking forward to an awesome race on the 23rd. It's going to be 33 of the best drivers in the world turning laps on the oval, trying to get on the Borg Warner Trophy. And more than ever, most importantly, we're looking forward to 2021 when we can hopefully see people coming through the gates again.
Well, no question about that. And I know the 20 people that are in our group can't wait until next year. They did put off their tickets till next year. They didn't want to come. And our group is from Virginia, Maryland, Florida, Texas, Colorado, and California.
Yeah.
We're going to wait until next year and we all come in. So it will be fun to watch. Not like being there, but it will still be fun to watch because it is a race. And as I'm sure you are aware, this is probably the most competitive series in the world. Any one of 12 or 15 teams are capable of winning on any given weekend, where other series, open wheel series, there's only 2 or 3 that are going to win. And usually it's just one that will win most of the time. So it's exciting racing. It's fun to be a part of. I appreciate you taking the time to chat. And until we talk again, until I pest you again, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
That's Alex Damron, the Vice President of Corporate Communications for Penske Entertainment. He will be the man making things happen during the month when it's really quiet, and he won't have people like me pestering him all day long. So I appreciate his time. And we have another upcoming guest in a day or so. You'll get to see it. Until then, Don Kay saying thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.